everyone. Welcome to the Q A with RealBridge. We've obviously just had the pairs on RealBridge platform, and so the first part of this session is the prize giving. So I'm going to announce the top 3 pairs in reverse order. Obviously third and second just get an honourable mention, but those in first place both will be getting a prize thanks to Masterpoint Press, who's sponsoring the prizes for this session. North-South, and if you can do the virtual clapping, or if you've got your cameras on, we can see you, but you can do the virtual clapping if you have that function. In third place, North-South, was Ian Burgess and Isabel Larcombe with about 56%. Okay, and in second place, North-South, we had Tan Su Beng and David Law with 57%. And in a cheeky first place, Mr. President of the European Bridge League, Jan Kamras, with his partner Ewan McNay from New York. I take full credit for this because I paired them up last night. So this is all down to my good matchmaking. So congratulations, Ewan McNay and Jan Kamras, for a stunning score of 61.67%. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
The opponents were around, everybody. Big claps, big claps.
The opponents were too nice to us. I guess they were trying to get collect brownie points for the future from me.
So well done. Is Ewan, are you there? Are you going to come and say something lovely? So you both get a free copy of the ebook. So make sure that we have your emails and we will deliver that to you in fine electronic form, as everything else is these days. Congratulations, well done. And East-West, in third place we have Andrew Belson and Jean-Pierre Garnier on about 56%. Congratulations. And in second place we have Jean Girard and Joe Picarek on 57%. Congratulations. Just honourable mentions, I'm afraid. No prizes for you. But with a big score, they had an even bigger score, but it steadily dropped, but not by enough. We have the winners East-West were Frank Morgan and Barry Baloff with 63%. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So Frank and Barry, can you make sure we have your emails, please? Can you email BAMSA?
Yes, yeah, we registered for the conference.
We'll make sure that we can, if you email BAMSA at stirac.uk and give us, well, if you just email us, then we will make sure that Masterpoint Press will deliver the book Bridge at the Top, which is really not really much to do with me because it's all the people that I interviewed that you'll be reading about. So I haven't actually written any of it. It's all about what they have to say about Bridge at the Top. You'll be pleased to know you don't have to hear anything what I think about Bridge at the Top. It's all about the world champion. It's world champions talking about their lives at the top of the game. So I hope you enjoy it. And yeah, one small favour, you could give us some feedback. If you like it, give us some feedback. If you don't, well, we'll still have your feedback.
Absolutely. Thanks. Looking forward to reading it.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you. So now, Fred, we can unpresent.
I wanted to say, much enjoying this conference.
Oh, great. Yes, sorry.
Much enjoying the conference. RealBridge, first time we were ever played on RealBridge like that. First time we ever played together, too. We were brought together for the conference here, so thanks.
Well, there you go. Lots of first times then, and we're really glad you enjoyed it. And first time winners, first time lucky. So there you go. Barry, did you want to say anything?
No, thank you very much for hosting the conference. This has been a lot of fun. We're looking forward to reading the book. And RealBridge was a real treat to play on. It's I have to mind what I'm doing, on the camera and things like that. It's a little bit different than bridge based, but a little more realistic feel. So I very much appreciate that.
Great. Well, we hope everyone enjoyed the tournament this afternoon. The idea was for it to be fun and friendly, and I was under strict instructions to be nice to everyone, and I nearly achieved that. We nearly ended up bottom, but not quite, unfortunately.
Everyone was very nice.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone, and do please stay because I'm now delighted to introduce Graham Hazel from RealBridge. He's the creator of RealBridge. And also now the CEO and head of development at RealBridge. We also have his team with us. That's Shireen Mohandes, who's the commercial director, and Andy Bowles, who's the operations manager. They will be catching any unanswered questions that go into the chat. So do ask lots of questions in the chat, but we are only here till 5:30 because we have a big schedule this week with the conference. So we only have 25 minutes with them. So put lots of comments and questions into the chat, and we will be writing a report on this session. And both Shireen and Andy certainly will be giving lots of answers to questions that you put in the chat, and we'll include those into the report. But now I'm going to have a Q&A with the developer, who I believe is a Scot, a fellow Scot, but now you live in England, Graham, is that right?
I think you've heard a bit of a vicious rumour there. I have represented Scotland at Bridge. So I lived in Scotland for 2 years.
Okay,
in
so
1998, 99.
So we can't claim you as being Scottish.
I've got a Scottish granddad, and I have played for Scotland, but I would not describe myself genuinely as Scottish. No.
Okay, well we'll let you off. Nearly a Scot.
I'm not zero Scottish though, certainly.
Anyway, before we get on to some of our questions, I just want to say what an innovative and responsive team RealBridge are. They're just, you know, I was involved a little bit in some of the testing early on in lockdown, and it was just amazing. You know, Shireen would get me on one day, we'd play a few things, mention a few things, and then literally the next day they would have addressed them, and you know, it would look different. And this happened day after day for a few weeks, and then suddenly here we have RealBridge. So a year ago, you know, this didn't exist. So it's amazing what they've been doing, and as a team they're incredibly innovative. I know that they've been doing town twinning events. They've had a recent new format where you play 4 boards and then you get a mini video lesson afterwards, and I think people like Andrew Robson have been involved in that. And I think the first 4 of these, they attracted almost 15,000 players. They've also got 15 clubs from U3As, and U3As are universities of the third age in the UK, and they're playing teams against each other around the UK. They have an ongoing TD program. RealBridge can now be used by 100% blind people, and that's thanks to, I think, Gonzalo Godet, who's helped with that, and I think he's from Spain. And the last,
well, I mean, that was all him. Okay, he didn't just help with it. It's all his development.
But it's still, obviously, he's worked and collaborated with you to make that happen. And that's great. You know, it's fantastic that can be played in that format. And the last junior event you ran, I believe you had like 39 teams from 18 countries, and we're juggling lots of time zones like we're doing this week at the conference. And the USBF, that's the United States Bridge Federation, have been running their JLAL, that's in honor of Justin Lau, their JLAL event. And they're planning to continue running that post-COVID. So an enormous amount's been happening, because I think you only actually launched RealBridge around November time. So my sort of first question for you, Graham, is, you know, you've really brought this more social element to online bridge. It really is more like RealBridge online. Did the idea just begin at the beginning of lockdown, or did you have the seeds sown before that? How did the idea emerge and grow?
Well, I mean, the history of RealBridge really starts in about 2003, oddly. In that, so then I moved from Edinburgh to California, where I was a student. Anyway, long story short, I discovered around that time a group of people trying to play another card game, Barboo, online, with a bit of software, or various bits of software, that just didn't quite work. And eventually I had a bit of a table flip moment and just decided, well, I can write programs. Let's see if I can write a program to do this. And since I was a student, I could clear my diary, and I spent about three solid 18-hour days. And after that, I had the outline of a working program. And the funny part about that is that it was a bit of a throwaway project for me. But then these people in England, it turned out, Shireen and Andy, took this program and made a whole community around it, because they knew a lot of people. So Barboo is popular among a certain subset of bridge players, and so they built a little community, and it kept going. I mean, it's still going. And eventually, so my program was used for about 15 years. Eventually, some other people have come along and written something better. But it was, so it's always somehow been in the back of my mind to, well, that was actually a really terrible bit of software I did very quickly. Maybe I should make that better one day. But like with lots of these ideas, you know, you never have the time until there was this weird worldwide pandemic lockdown thing. And suddenly I had some time on my hands. So I started playing around with, with online card games again. And partly just as a learning exercise to work out, well, what can you do with the modern internet and modern web and all of these new features that you can get through the web now, like video. But it fairly quickly became apparent that this might actually be useful. And then it sort of snowballed from there a bit, turned into a real thing.
But I think we were very lucky that you had time on your hands. So it was great for us. And during this journey of creating and developing RealBridge, has anything unexpected or surprising happened? I mean,
lots of things. If you come from a computing background, you know that when something works, it's surprising. So, you know, from the moment where I could first see video from my phone on my laptop, that was a surprising moment. But I think more generally, just how widely and how enthusiastically it was taken up by people. We did hear, I was quite surprised when we heard about one player. We heard about a 99-year-old player who had never owned a computer before, was inspired to buy a computer and organize broadband so she could play with her local bridge club on RealBridge. So that was quite surprising. So I thought I tweeted about that because I said, haha, we're expanding the gaming demographic, one nonagenarian at a time. And then, perhaps even more surprisingly, that record was beaten. So our oldest player is 106.
Wow.
Which, well, it's the oldest person we know about who has played on RealBridge. So I found that quite surprising.
Well, there you go. That's a challenge for everyone to find someone even older. But that's amazing. That's fantastic. What a great pandemic story, really. I mean, there's been a lot of bad stories in the pandemic, but it is great that this is actually a really cheery story. So it's great to share good news. So in this morning's session, we were talking about Bridge during lockdown, and we had some small group discussions, and there's a mixture of views about online bridge. And for some, they sort of feel it's not the same as face-to-face, but it's better than nothing when there was nothing else, there was no other alternatives, because they really missed the social interaction of live bridge. And now, obviously, RealBridge, you are offering the seeing and hearing experience that we haven't been able to have before that with online bridge. But there are still some comments that computer bridge isn't the same, and it's an inferior game, and it's not the same as in-person bridge. So as the CEO of RealBridge, what are your views on that?
Well, I think that's an interesting question, which I'm going to take issue with the semantics with slightly. So it's certainly not different, right? And like everyone else. So I really love playing face-to-face bridge and going away, you know, going to a congress, playing bridge for 3 or 4 days. Now that I'm the age that I am, with small children, I find it a lot harder to do that. So actually, one of the great things about online bridge is just the access. It gives more people more access to be able to play bridge. You might not live near a bridge club. You might not be able to get out of the house very easily for one reason or another. So there's you know, there are some good things about it, quite apart from, you know, the game itself. I think as far as the game itself goes, it is the same game, right? I think to claim it's a different game or an inferior game, you have to be taking it a bit too seriously. I think most people would agree it's the same game with different playing conditions. And I think that online versus face-to-face has both advantages and disadvantages, I would say. So, and some of it is just about what you're used to. So with with other games that are more, I would say, perhaps more established or more popular, there are people who have grown up and learned chess solely with computers, like solely online, and so their experience of chess is as a screen, and when they first play with a board and pieces, they have this sort of confusion. There's like 3D things I have to manipulate, and then after a few games you get used to it. But in a certain sense, it's kind of what you're used to. Now, I think as far as the social aspect goes, I think a lot of what people miss is being able to go to the bar after the session and talk about the hands. And that, I admit, that's something that RealBridge can't really replicate very easily. But I wouldn't say that that's part of the game, right? That's the kind of, for people who, it's great to be able to go away to a congress and have that experience, but equally, it's a much bigger commitment of time and resources and money, and it's a more expensive, if you like, indulgent thing to do, whereas an online event can be run. I think I did the calculation. So the EBU Spring Fours event had a more international field than usual because it was held online, and I tried to do a back of the envelope calculation, and it was, but I can't remember the answer. It was quite a lot of tons of carbon that was saved in airline flights anyway.
And it was great for us players because we got to play against some fabulous teams from around the world who had never played in the Spring Fours before. So,
yeah. I mean, as I say, it does have advantages. It has disadvantages. So I think, but yeah, part of me definitely agrees. Right, I love playing face-to-face bridge, but equally, not everybody can do that all the time, and it's great to have the option to play. Certainly for working parents, actually being able to play online is quite nice because it's just less of a commitment of time.
And I don't know if you were here yesterday, we had Martin Seligman talking about bridge, and for him, the long-term future and sustainability of bridge is all about the online. To what extent do you think that that's actually the case? I mean, he was all for it, but and then in our discussions this morning, I think it was quite divided between, you know, mixture of what will actually happen moving forward. What do you think?
I mean, I think that's true, sort of broadly. I mean, it depends how long term your long term is, right? But in general, more and more people are doing more and more stuff online. Right? If you don't exist online, then to the generation growing up now, you don't exist. So in that sense, bridge has to have a really good online presence in order to draw in the new generation of people. And I think that's one of the really, this is all about access again, right? We've never sort of written down what our mission is as a company, but I think you could loosely describe it as we're trying to improve online bridge as an experience and to be a good thing, a helpful thing for the game itself. And I think that's that's one of the big ways that online can help is just have a presence that's very easy to get started with and have a first interaction with. And so obviously the more positive, the better you can make that, the more attractive the game is to people. I think that goes hand in hand with face-to-face teaching. Right? If people happen to live close to a bridge club, then sure, that they can have their first experience there. But not everyone's in that situation. It may be less convenient for whatever reason. And the ability to just have a practice quickly online, rather than have to, you know, work out, okay, whose house are we going to? They might live far away. You know, if we can make it very friction-free, make it a very easy, nice, pleasant experience, then I think we can help yeah, help make the game more attractive to more people.
I mean, you have had an absolutely amazing kind of whirlwind of a year. Do you have any other particular development plans, or what do you see as your biggest challenges as we move back more towards face-to-face bridge?
I think, yeah, leading on from the last discussion, really, I think it's fair to say that we have RealBridge up to now has been more focused on tournament bridge, if you like. It's the platform's kind of designed around the concept of a session, a pair session or a team session usually, and it's been used a lot for quite big tournaments, a lot of just sort of club pairs tournaments, and I think one of the big challenges or big opportunities, really, I think yeah, online is a massive opportunity for bridge. If you look at similar-ish, well, other things in the mind sports category, if you look at chess, for example, I mean, it's huge online, and it's become incredibly popular because of its really good online presence. And lockdown was amazing for that as well. You had all of the players playing online with Twitch presentations and amazing production values somehow. So I think there's a huge opportunity there, and from our point of view, yes, we've had this comment where people say to us, well, you've done all this great stuff for all of the keen, already good players who are already playing a lot. What about for beginners and improvers? So I think a lot of the requests we're having, so in general, our development's driven by talking to people and what do you want, have been around teaching more ways of more sorts of video interaction around teaching and practice play.
Well, I'd like to now open up to some more general Q&A, and we've got some questions coming in. In fact, Andrew Bilson asks something very related to what you just said, and asks whether RealBridge has any plans to facilitate mini bridge on computers, and that might, he suggests, attract more young players.
That is on our list somewhere. It has been raised. So, although I would say, as a sort of disclaimer, that our list has hundreds of items on it, so equally there's not necessarily any time frame, but yeah, well, I mean, Sam, maybe you can talk about this. There's another surprising thing I saw on Twitter was video of a Scottish school with a whole class of children playing real, but were they playing mini bridge on RealBridge? I forget.
Yes, they were playing mini bridge on RealBridge. I mean, it was fabulous. We have Anne Wickens, who used to be the SBU, Scottish Bridge Union education convener, and has taught a lot of bridge for years. She's gone into schools in the Highlands in Scotland for many years. But because of COVID, although the schools were open, they didn't want visitors in. They didn't want outside people coming in. So, but they still wanted to continue with bridge with the children because the pupils loved it, and they missed, the bridge teachers coming in and doing some bridge. And one particular teacher was really supportive. In fact, it was a head teacher was really supportive of the idea and got them all devices, and they're all sitting in the classroom in their fours at the table, but they're all playing on RealBridge with each other. And the head teacher said it's fabulous because they're gaining all these multi skills they've got communication skills, they're playing, and they're doing lots of things at once, and learning the new technical skills and new communication skills. And the kids are loving it, and the teachers are loving it because they said that the kids' focus and concentration was absolutely amazing. And so we've got this lovely video of the kids all just sitting in the classroom all playing RealBridge. And I guess one of the ambitions could be that they then play against another school, and you have, inter-school or inter-classroom competitions on RealBridge. So, I think it opens up lots of opportunities. And we've got our mini bridge session tomorrow evening. So tomorrow evening at 6:30, well, 6:30 UK time, BST time, we have a taster session for first timers, and Shireen's worked hard with Christina, our Mind Sport officer, and we've set up a fabulous mini bridge session. So we're going to try it out, and if it works, hopefully there will be a toolkit that we can put on our website and make widely available, and anyone can use all the sort of guidance that's been set up for it. So hopefully that will work. We've had some other questions, a lot of questions coming in from Kiat. Somebody else might help with his questions and ask some questions too. One of his questions is, what were the challenges that you had to deal with to integrate video?
Let me count the ways. So, I mean, this is just going to get too boring and technical for 99% of people, I think.
One answer then.
The big challenge is just for web video, there's just a lot of different devices and a lot of different browsers, and so in theory there is a standard, but as usual it's not really completely standard that works the same everywhere. So one of the really big challenges, another part of that is you have a fair number of users who say they have their tablet and they can play on an existing bridge platform with their tablet and it's fine. But it's a 10-year-old tablet, and if you try to display 3 videos on that tablet, it will struggle because it's a 10-year-old tablet and is no longer actually officially supported by the company that made this. It's deemed to be past its end of useful life from that point of view. So there's some expectation management, which is tricky because people just think, well, this is a perfectly good computing device, it should work. Whereas actually 10 years is a long time, as you know, in computing, and the sheer volume of video being streamed around the world on the internet has absolutely exploded in the last 10 years. So more modern devices are just much better than older ones at handling it. So I think that's probably the biggest challenge, actually.
You're not alone. I mean, look at Microsoft Teams, the platform that we're using for this conference. Everyone has a different experience depending on their browser or their device, and some can access functions and some can't. And they're a massive global company, so you're in good company there. Kia also asks, will you be making it as easy as BBO for players to join ad hoc for pickup games with friends or strangers?
So that's also a good question. No, I think the real answer is we're not completely sure yet. So I think it's fair to say we will be moving in that direction, but we're not completely sure what that looks like yet. So there's a kind of annoying economic fact somewhere in that sending video data around does cost money. So it's one of the great things about BBO historically, and why it's been a very positive thing for Bridge over its lifetime, is just it's free, and you can have you can go and play casually online completely gratis, and that's actually very difficult to you need some economic model to actually be able to afford that. So that's sort of one of the sticking points. But I would say, like my previous answer, the observation that we've done more for tournament players than learners and developers and casual players, I think that's true, and that's something that we do intend to address over time.
And we have another question here from Cedric Parker. Can groups of bridge players, say 20, book a competitive session on RealBridge?
Yes, that's our business, really. The usual way this is done is that someone has an account. So this is quite often a bridge club, but we do have a few private individuals who have accounts and run essentially sessions, tournaments. And we have training sessions for directors, i.e. people running sessions, to learn how to set up sessions, how to run it. But we've paid quite a lot of attention to making that simple, the actual sort of mechanics of creating a session and starting a session. So it works as you would have seen if you played in the taster. It works a little bit like a Zoom or a Teams call, in that there's a link. You click on the link and you can join the session. But yes, that's kind of what RealBridge does. And then depending on, there's a sort of more technical answer about depending on what you want to do with the results. You can get your results out in various formats.
I think I see we've had quite a lot of other questions coming in, but Shireen's doing a fantastic job of answering some of them. I think we've covered most of them, either verbally or in chat. And I am aware that it's 5:30, and we do have another session this evening. So I'd just like to say a huge thank you, Graham. I think lots of people were very curious to meet you, but also to say thank you. So I do think we should have a big virtual round of applause for Graham and his team, because you have transformed the experience of online bridge, and you really have blazed the way and given us an experience that is as close to RealBridge but through a screen as you can get, really. And certainly, hopefully, everyone had a fun time this afternoon, and hopefully our newbies tomorrow, our first timers, will enjoy trying it out with mini bridge. So yeah, everyone's saying congratulations, big hand for Graham. Well done, seriously.
Well,
I mean, amazing achievement to do this from
First of all, thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it, but also I'd say it's absolutely not all me. I just write some software. Shireen in particular, but Andy, Sam, and our other the rest of our team do an enormous amount of the support and all of the training, all of the documentation, all of the things you need to build up a community and actually get people, introduce people to the platform and get people playing easily. So big thanks to them as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can see that you are just such a responsive team. I mean, even just for this event, you've supported, you're a collaborator of BAMSA, and your team, Shireen in particular, has been enormously supportive in terms of this week and this conference. So we're very grateful to you. And I know other people's experience of working with RealBridge is very similar. So you have an amazing team there, and you have an amazing product, and we just wish you all the best. So thanks very much for coming today. And just to remind everyone else, we have probably our busiest day today. We have a third session later. In 2 hours from now, we have our session on cheating and online bridge with Boya Brogland, known as the Sheriff, Steve Weinstein from Bridge Winners, Jan Kamras from European Bridge League, and Eric Laurent from the World Bridge Federation. So do join us for that. I think we can guarantee that it's going to be a lively discussion. But yeah, once again, thank you, Graham, for the time taken to speak to us today. Thanks.
Thank you.